Yeah.
He's broad, man. I remember when Dustin was making 145.
Crazy.
Right?
He looks like he's having a hard time making 55 now. But look, man, the difference between him at 45 and 55 is pretty significant.
So with Dustin, like, I'm kind of biased because he's one of my best friends, right? Of
course.
But you see how Max dominated a lot of guys at 45, and then you talk about Max is like now he's the greatest. Now he's the greatest at 145. He may be the GOAT. He may be greater than Jose Aldo. Like, that's an argument that people can make.
Well, he beat him twice,
right?
Although he beat him later in his career,
right?
Jose's not 50 years old. He was in his early 30s.
Yeah, and he was still the number one guy. He was still dominating everybody else.
Yep.
Right, or
Except
at least
Conor.
beating everybody else except Conor. But like the way Max beat those guys, beat Ortega, beat Jose twice, and then Dustin's having these tough fights. He's fighting these same guys. He's fighting Gaethje. He's fighting Eddie. He's winning them. He's convincingly winning them. But when he fights Max, like Max, the fight is Dustin's fight is the same fight that he had with Gaethje. It's the same as far as competitiveness, right? Max was still in there, but Dustin wins these. But like this is where my bias kicks in. I'm like, give that man some credit, man. Like. I mean, I know everybody loves Dustin. I mean, not everybody, but people love Dustin. They appreciate the way he fights. They appreciate his style. But I'm like, man, he's taken out like champions. He's taken out champions. Gaethje was a champion. He was in World Series, but he was a champion.
Yeah.
He took out Eddie, champion.
Yep.
Max, champion. He's like all these guys. He's beaten Anthony Pettis, champion. It's just champion after champion.
He also rises to the occasion. He fought better against Max than any other fight he ever fought in his career.
That's the thing about him, though. Like he's like the cream, He rises. That's why his nickname's the Diamond,
What do you think happens when he fights Khabib? Yeah, that's the one.
That's the fight. Like,
that's the fight.
Like Khabib is the guy. Khabib is definitely the guy. And I was talking to him about it. I started a new podcast. I got
What's
a
it called?
podcast. Sup Fam.
Sup Fam?
Sup Fam.
Sup Fam with Yves Edwards.
Yeah.
Like
I know. And I just released it today. It's on my YouTube.
It just started today?
Yeah, well, I just released the first episode today.
Oh, all right.
And Dustin's my first guest.
Oh,
And
perfect.
So I was out there with him last week. And we were just hanging out. And we talked about some of that. But like, what do I think happens? This is a tough fight. It's the toughest fight everybody's going to get, right? I absolutely understand and agree that Khabib should be going in as the favorite, right? I want Dustin to win this fight. Every round starts on the feet. Dustin's got to make smart moves every single time, because when Khabib takes him down, it's virtually impossible to get back to your feet. Right? And that's where Khabib is going to want this fight to happen. Dustin's going to have his opportunities, but like, is he going to be able to stop that wrestling consistently enough to make this fight happen where it's best for him? And that's the hardest thing. He's got a good training camp. He's got really good people there with him. He's got Mike Brown there. You know who I want to get with him? Gregor Gillespie. I want Gregor Gillespie to get with Dustin and just get on top of him for the next 2 months.
Just feel that high-level wrestling.
Yeah.
Smashing pressure.
Just that pressure, and get comfortable working out of it, working under there, protecting yourself, doing that.
Would he be interested in... he might fight him down the road, though.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, Tyron and Robbie trained together a long time ago.
That's true. Yeah, that's how you get better. Right?
Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where it's like... Sometimes you gotta trade with a potential rival, or not an enemy, but
right.
But like, iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
And sometimes you have to go with somebody that's a possible matchup in the future. It just
especially if you're going to fight a guy who has that same style. And I think you nailed it too, because Gregor Gillespie is probably, when you get past Khabib, the scariest wrestler in the division.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy that gets on top of people and just smashes them.
And he's relentless with his wrestling also. He's a guy who's not going to get tired. He's going to put that pressure on you. He's going to come forward. And once he gets a hold of you, if you don't use perfect technique to escape and get that distance back, he's just going to chain wrestle and chain wrestle. There's no stopping until you're down. Until he scores his 2, there's the takedown is still happening.
Yeah, he's got some fucking relentless strength and conditioning sessions too that he puts on his Instagram. You watch it and you go, oh, this is why this guy doesn't get tired. Fuck.
That guy doesn't get tired because he's obsessed.
Yeah.
Like he runs like 5-minute miles.
Does he really?
Like he'll run like 6 of them.
Jesus
straight.
Christ.
He will run 8 miles and he'll keep the ball under 6 minutes.
So he'll run 6 miles and a half an hour.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He can do that.
Fuck,
Like
man.
he's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
He's
like
crazy obsessed.
that's high level marathon pace, right?
Yeah. Like people don't know some of the things about these guys. Like there was a point where training with these guys, I was just like, all right, man, I'm too old to be doing that. I can't. I just can't keep up with that. You know what I mean?
Dobby.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's hard to say, right?
Yeah, before the Max fight, I would have for sure been like, Khabib's just going to blow him out the water. He's just going to take him down. He's just going to be too big.
But
like
Max
you said,
really wasn't trying to take him down the way Khabib will. It's a different fighter.
yeah, but the way Dustin's footwork was looking in that, that's what makes you think about it because, you know, Khabib's kind of a one train mind. You know, he's gonna come right at you. You know what he's gonna do too.
Yeah.
But if Dustin not even necessarily can out wrestle him, it's way easier to play defense on wrestling than offense. And if you got great footwork like that to keep your back off the fence, it might be a long night for Khabib.
Who knows?
It's a good fight.
It's a good fight.
It's a good fight.
And Dustin's got that serious power.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
Dustin can hurt you.
Yeah,
If
and
you
he's
zig when you should have
southpaw.
zagged. Yep.
You know, southpaw, I think that's going to play a big factor in it. You know, it's a little harder to get in on a lot of those shots.
The real key is, can he stuff the takedown and can he defend himself on the ground? Because with so many guys, Khabib gets a hold of him and then they develop that 1,000-yard stare where they're like, what in the fuck is happening? You know how it's like when, especially I'm sure you remember early in your career when you would go with a guy who's just way bigger than you or way stronger than you and you just go, oh, I can't do shit.
Yeah.
There's that I can't do shit thing. I'm just sort of surviving here.
Yeah, I mean, I still try and put myself in them situations now.
It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, I roll with Robert Drysdale or something.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm lucky I'm just counting how many times, or I roll with Vinny Magalhaes, and I'm like, I'm just trying my best not to get submitted.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the point where now you only gonna submit me 1 or 2 times. You know, before it was like 10. Like, it was like as many times as he wanted to. But, you know, like, okay, if I slowly pick at this, then I might.
I was so shocked he didn't win that PFL thing. I was so shocked. I thought he was going to win it for sure.
Welcome back, guys, to Kini K TV. In this video, I want to talk about a potential Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Dustin Poirier fight, but mainly focus on why and how Dustin Poirier could defeat Khabib Nurmagomedov. So with that being said, let's jump right into the video. The Diamond Dustin Poirier going into this fight is more certainly the underdog. I don't think that anybody will have to say that, okay, this guy, Dustin Poirier, is the antidote to defeat Khabib. But in the end, Dustin Poirier possesses a couple of great threats that haven't really been presented all that much to Khabib Nurmagomedov. We have to understand what type of a fighter Dustin is. When we take a close look at Dustin Poirier, he's not only a tremendous striker, but he's also a very well-balanced grappler. I would have to believe that he is probably the best and most balanced MMA fighter that Khabib has ever faced. For example, if you take a look at Conor McGregor, he is probably the best striker in the lightweight division. So he was a striker, a phenomenal striker. Then we have Edson Barboza, who was yet again a good striker. Then if you take a look at Al Iaquinta, he was a pretty well balanced guy that he didn't really have the best striking, and against Khabib Nurmagomedov, it's pretty hard to be the better grappler to begin with. So Al Iaquinta was outmatched in that aspect in that fight, but he was a pretty well balanced fighter as well. Then if we take a look at Michael Johnson, he was also a pretty good striker where the ground game wasn't really his priority or his area of expertise. So for Dustin Poirier to go into this fight and present a full, well thought out MMA approach, where he will probably also try to mix it up against the fence. So for Dustin Poirier to go into this fight against Khabib, I believe that his best strength is to present a well thought out MMA fight. Obviously, he's a better striker, but the problem with most of the strikers were that they were pretty linear in their approach. It was only striking. When it comes to Dustin Poirier, he himself was never shy to shoot him for a takedown or even grapple with the best grapplers that he fought. For example, Eddie Alvarez, Justin Gaethje, even though Justin Gaethje doesn't really use his grappling all that much, it is still there. So in that aspect, I would have to believe that presenting a takedown threat onto Khabib, like for example Al Iaquinta did early on in the fight, was something that kept the fight standing. And if Dustin Poirier can present a fight where it is not only striking, and Khabib Nurmagomedov will probably have a hard time getting a read onto Dustin Poirier if he does that, that will open up the things that he likes to do himself. Whether that being leading into with his left hand and then finishing up with a combination, or pinning the opponent against the cage and trying to get a takedown.
Listen,
September?
that's the plan. But you know, certain things need to happen. You know, Khabib is training. Khabib is in camp. Everybody know, I'm telling you today, Khabib in camp under the supervision, the one and only Abdul Manap Nurmagomedov is his father. The boss of all bosses, greatest coaches we've ever seen. He's on his butt every day, working with him one-on-one. Khabib is going to be ready. You will see the best version of Khabib.
What are we waiting for an official
It's
announcement?
just, you know, little business.
Money, right?
No, it's never money. We always make
No, I meant to say like money issues, or because this will lead into another question.
one thing you're going to learn about me, right?
Yeah.
I don't discuss money publicly. I don't talk about money publicly.
No, I don't want to know.
But I'm talking about a lot. If you're a young manager out there, right? A lot of great managers out there. If you're a young manager coming up, so many ego. When you start talking about money, negotiation, $1 million, the promoter always gonna have an ego. You're gonna have an ego. You're gonna get your fighter to have an ego, and it's gonna be an ego clapping, right? I don't talk about business. I'm gonna announce title fight.
Khabib Nurmagomedov, which is, you know, undefeated lightweight champion of the world, guy that's been dominant in so many areas and so many fights. And honestly, after the performance against Conor, you talk about the massive platform he had last time. This will be a bigger platform. How do you prepare for the enormity of the event that you're going to face when you and Khabib fight?
You know, this is going to be crazy. But I don't want to jump the gun because I haven't, you know, I don't have a fight contract yet. And I'm just waiting to find out exactly all the details. But it looks like everything's pointing to Abu Dhabi, September 7th. It's going to be, you know, a huge show. But I'm going to cross that bridge when I get there. This is just another fight to me, man. This honestly is just another fight to me.
Well, what can you do? Like if you had a fight where you're like, there's certain fights where you've got to be more aggressive, or there's certain fights where you've got to focus on, you know, grappling more than striking. Like, it may be a question that doesn't make any sense, but we're trying to relate everything to that in business. And so I was thinking, you know, fighters have to
Risk versus reward, D.
Yeah.
Risk versus reward.
Yeah.
I believe it comes down to.
Thanks for summarizing, DC. That was much better than my.
He had 2 minute fucking question.
I got three words to answer that one.
Hey, Dustin,
Fuck.
And then you start going at him, and he gets even more fucking nervous. His asshole puckered so tight.
Yeah.
Then he starts going in a complete circle.
I think the C in DC stands for Cliff Notes.
Then you're like, I don't understand what the fuck you're saying. And then he really starts running. Fucking did 2 miles to get to risk versus reward.
Dude, it's early. I'm still working on that coffee. What the hell? It's kind of risk versus reward, but it's risk versus reward, but it's also, what are you doing? You know, you've got to lay the foundation so that you're able to take risk, because then it's not, you know, no one risks something just for the sake of risking it. You only risk it for the reward. But if I went in the cage and just started fucking throwing haymakers, that's just stupidity. That's not risk.
Right. I think it comes down to fight IQ and discipline and maturity, just how long you've been around and the making decisions on the fly in there. You know, I've been fighting for a while, and I feel like at this point in my career, I kind of know where I'm at for the most part on the scorecards. I feel like I have a decent understanding of what's going on when I'm in there. And you know, like risk versus reward, like you guys are talking about, I try to finish these fights. And because of that, I've been put on the other side. You know, I've risked it, and come out on the losing side because I've risked it all. But I finished these guys as well. There's a fine line between risking too much or putting yourself in harm's way to get the finish. But I'd rather fight this way. I don't want to jab and circle and win decisions. I'm trying to hurt these guys and put these guys away. That's what fighting is to me. Of course, there's times where you need to be a little bit, more cautious and careful and try to change the momentum of a fight. And then you got to pick your shots and slow around down here and there. But at the end of the fight, when the fight's totaled up, I'm trying to finish you. So that's just how I fight, man.
It seems like it's not just how you fight. Like, so at the end of the fight, you talked about there was times where you didn't know if you would, you needed help, like pushing through and keeping going. Like, so I guess that ties into the risk reward too. Like, were there points where you thought, like, I don't know if this is worth it. I don't know if I'll ever get to the top, or if I'll get the chance, or there's so many politics and you guys don't have complete control of who you fight next or what opportunities are given to you. Was that a recent thing, or how was that, and what did you do to kind of get your mind right?
A little bit before this last fight, I kind of got frustrated with just the years of and the work that I put in. I felt overlooked a little bit. I felt, I try to stay pretty optimistic and pretty positive. I try not to let negative thoughts creep in. But, I felt like I was being punished for. I'm in the lightweight division. I'm on a streak. I've fought everybody. I've beat former champions in main events like 3 times in a row before this fight. And I just felt like I earned a shot at the title. And I felt like I was being punished by the organization because of other guys' actions. I felt like I'm sitting on the sideline. I might have to fight a few more guys before I get a title shot because these 2 guys are suspended, and I don't know when they're coming back. And if they do come back, they might rematch, and it holds up the division even longer. The division's already top-heavy. I just felt like I'd done the work and haven't got a crack, haven't got my due. But like I said, man, I just stayed positive. I was out there in Florida training, didn't even have a fight coming up. I just felt like I needed to be there, and I got the call to fight for the title. The interim title with Max. So everything worked out. Everything happens for